everybody, Pastor Stan again. I'm going to do some more storytelling today. Hope you have your beverage of choice. I have mine. Mighty good. And as always, like and subscribe if you're interested in this content, and leave some comments if you want to as well. All right, so today we're going to talk about something that happened to me some time ago now. And this is when Pastor Stan goes to the snake handling church. That's right, Pastor Stan went to the snake handling church. You know, I'm from out on the west coast of the United States, and we don't have anything like that. But in missions class, they showed a movie of a documentary on snake handling churches out in Appalachia in the cool mountains of West Virginia. So when I moved out here to attend seminary to Virginia, I went over, they said there's a snake handling church close to here, and I said, no way. So I'm going to go and see it, but I didn't know anybody who went there, so they said, well, there's a fella. His last name's McCoy. He works down at the local grocery store. I said, well, how will I know which one he is? And he said, oh, it's easy. He'll be the one like this. And I said, well, what does that mean? What does this mean? He said, well, that means that he got bit on the finger and his finger rotted off. Man, oh no. Well, I went down to the grocery store, and sure enough, there he was. You know, I could tell. I guess I could tell which one he was. All right? Okay. So I introduced myself. I'm the pastor over here at the church, just in from the West Coast, and I understand that you attend this kind of church. I was wondering if I could come and visit you. He said, oh, yeah. He visited me. Very nice. He invited me over. A really nice fellow. So he told me when to come, and I said, I'm coming. So on a Sunday night, I went over there. And that's my first visit, and I was pretty excited, and it took me a while to get there in the dark black hills of West Virginia. I had no idea where I was, but I followed the directions and actually found the church. So I went in there, very friendly folks, very nice. Mr. McCoy took me up of the Kentucky McCoys, by the way, if you're familiar with the Hatfield McCoys, you know, Mr. McCoy. Actually related to the Kentucky McCoys. I know, right? So he introduces me to his pastor, and the pastor said, well, let's sit down with our Bible. So we had a Bible study right then. He took me to Mark chapter 16, where it says that they will, well, let's just take a look at it since we have a couple of minutes, and since we're doing the video and I'm teaching the video, we're going to go ahead and look at it. So he took me to Mark 16, and he showed me these scriptures, and he said, these are the 5 signs of the believers. And here's what it says. Jesus, quoting Jesus, verse 17, Mark 16, he says, these miraculous signs will accompany those who believe. They will cast out demons in my name, and they will speak in new languages. They will be able to handle snakes with safety, and if they drink anything poisonous, it won't hurt them. They will be able to lay their hands on the sick, and they will be healed. So he said, that's the 5 signs of the believer, and that's what we follow here. I said, okay. So that's a dancing church too. And so they started the worship service, and they got up and they danced, and everybody got up and danced. It was quite interesting. And they pretty much rocked out. I mean, you know, they didn't have an old organ, you know, like you felt like you were at some kind of funeral. They were just rocking out. And then the moment came, and they opened up, there's little bitty square boxes, and they opened up the top of the box. And I'm like, sitting back there watching. And then they put their hand in there, and they pulled out this snake. I kid you not. Copperheads and timber rattlers. And I'll tell you what, nothing looks like death like a 4-foot timber rattler. I kid you not. And they would hold those snakes up, and they would be praising the Lord, and then they put the snakes back in there, and the preacher would preach, and we'd pray, and then it was time to go home. And at the end of it all, I have to tell you, I was stunned. I was really stunned. I had never experienced anything like that in my whole life, and no one got bit. And here's the thing. Little Granny was up there holding the big snake, praising the Lord, praise Jesus, you know, and they were going on and on. Just love the Lord, love the Lord. And I felt like it was authentic. I mean, I felt like their faith in the Lord was real. But the whole handling of the snakes thing was weird to me. I was like, what in the world? But little Granny was up there, 80-year-old Granny holding the snake, praising the Lord. I thought, what is this? Because there wasn't anything like that in the traditions I grew up. I tell you what, growing up as Missouri Synod Lutheran was about as far away from that as you can get. I thought, wow. Anyway, on the way back home, I was praying and talking to the Lord through the black darkness of the hills of West Virginia. And I just thank the Lord for the opportunity to meet people I never would have been able to meet, and the opportunity to worship together with them. And so that's not everybody's style. Not everybody does that, obviously. However, it was a great experience for me. And I got a couple more stories I'm going to tell you about Pastor Stan and the Snake Alien churches, because that wasn't the only time I was there. No, I was pretty much hooked after that. I just couldn't quite get over it all. Anyway, thanks for being with me today. Like and subscribe as always. Got a couple more stories of Pastor Stan and the Snake Alien churches in West Virginia. So thank you for listening, and be careful out there. All right, see you next time. Bye-bye.